and welcome to Your Turn Gaming. I'm April, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play 7 Wonders Duel. In this game, you will be constructing buildings, building wonders, and above all, having fun. So let's talk about how to get this game started. In the setup, you're going to see a military track. In the military track, you're going to take out the conflict pawn, which is this one with the shield and the 2 swords. You're going to place it in the middle of the board. Next, you're going to take out these 4 military pieces and you're going to place them face up. And what these are is they're going to take away coins from your opponent as the military marker starts to move on the board. Next, you're going to take and place the science tokens, and these are these green ones right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle them, and you're going to take 5 of them and place them face up on the science track. The rest of them, you're just going to put them off to the side because you're not really going to use them this time. Next, each player is going to take 7 coins from the bank. The next part of the setup is deciding on the wonders. The wonders are these yellow cards right here. And you're going to see that there are more wonder cards than you're actually going to play with during this particular game. For the first player, they recommend that you start with certain cards, which I'm going to show you right now. So as you can see here, these are the 4 wonders that the game recommends that you start with. As you have played more games, you will be able to shuffle them up and do the random sequence in the game. But for this game, this is what you're asked to start with since it's your first time. It makes the game a little more balanced just to start with. But what is going to happen, I'm going to actually take these cards and I will show you how the process actually does start. What you would normally do is you would shuffle the cards. Given there are 12 wonders that you start with, so you take 4 wonders from the top right here. The first player would look at the wonder. They would decide, oh, I want to choose this wonder. They would place it face up. The other cards they would give to the other player, player 2. Player 2 then chooses their wonder. Let's just say that one. And then player 2 would then get to choose their next wonder. So then let's just say they choose this one, and then this one goes back to player 1. So now you already start with your 2 wonders. But then the process starts again, where you will take another 4 cards, except this time player 2 will start with the four wonders. They will choose one, then they pass the cards back to player 1. So let's just say they start with this one. Player 1 gets the cards back, they choose their wonder, and then they get to choose one more again. So they choose one, and then the last card gets to go to player 2. The 4 remaining wonders in the game will be then taken out of the game and put back in the box. And then these will be the wonders that you start with. This is only if you've already played the game more than one time. Next, we're going to talk about how to set up the age cards. So in the game instructions, they give you an example of how the age cards look each time. And you would start first with the brown ones, and you will notice that on the cards themselves, there is a 1, 2, and a 3. Okay, and so what you would do is you would create this formation. Now you'll notice that some of the cards are lighter and some are darker, and that means that certain cards will be face up and some cards will be face down in this game. And the rules do say that you need to remove 3 cards from each age, because eventually you will add in these guild cards, which are the darker purple ones, and they have a G on the bottom of them. Okay, so the goal of the game is you're trying to construct wonders and get the most points. There's various ways that you'll win, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So during the game, you'll build the buildings, which we are going to see here. We're going to build wonders, and most buildings have resource costs. What that is these coins at the top of the cards. Some other cards actually have symbols that you try to collect in the beginning stages or the age, and then you're going to use those in order to buy more expensive cards as the game goes on. So for example, this particular card, if I wanted to buy this, I have my coins that I was starting with at the beginning of the game. It would cost me 1 coin in order to purchase this particular card, and then I would just pay it to the bank and I would put it in front of me. I cannot choose this group of cards yet because they are face down and there's another card that is still blocking them. If, say, my opponent now chooses to buy this card, he could play it take a coin and purchase it with his cards. Then this card would immediately then turn over and it would become available to both players. This particular card would then cost wood. So you would have to buy a wood if you do already have that. Otherwise, there is a fee to pay for that wood. So often you will want to construct buildings and wonders and don't have all the materials, which is what I was talking about with right here. In this case, you can always purchase the missing materials from the bank. The cost of the resources will vary as the game changes because depending on how many pieces your opponent has could change the cost of the materials for you. The number of symbols of the same resources produced by the brown and the cards of the opposing. So meaning I could have these two in my thing and I would already have 2 wood to pay for another card, because you're going to see that certain cards are going to cost more. Just like when you have your wonders, this one would cost 2 wood, the bottle, and the scroll in order to purchase it. So a special note is there's no limit to how many cards you can actually get during the age. Purchasing cost is calculated according to the resources present in the opponent's city, but the purchases are paid to the bank. So no matter what, I never pay my opponent, I always pay the bank. Certain cards will cost something in order to play. If I were to purchase this yellow one for 3 coins, it would actually cost me 1 coin each time I want to play this card for the wood. It's not an automatic how this one doesn't have a cost above it. I can get this one for free every time. Whereas the gold one, it actually costs me 1 coin each time I want to play that one. And various cards do have that particular thing going on. Another thing that can happen during the game is called chaining. Chaining allows you to purchase a card based on what you already have in your player deck. For example, I have this card that has the book on it. I've already paid my 2 coins and I have this in my stack in front of me. With this card, I am allowed to purchase another card that already has this symbol. If you look at our cards right here, this one has 2 different rows in which there are resources that you can purchase. I can either have a brick, the wood, or the bottle. If I don't have those, but I do have this green science symbol, which is the book, because I already have this one resource that has the book, this is called chaining and I can take this one right away. And normally these cards do not come up until you get to age 2 or 3, when you're going to see more of this chaining symbol going on. Another thing that you could do is say you do not like any of your choices, or you are afraid that your opponent is going to get one of the cards that will potentially help them more, is you can discard cards. Say I do not want my opponent to have this card, I can actually discard it into the discard pile that we started at the beginning of the game, and I can change it for coins. So you'll receive coins each time you discard a card. So I would get 2 coins per that card. Now, there is a special rule also that if you have yellow cards like this particular one in the stack, say I have this one in my stack, I can actually get an extra coin from the bank each time I have a yellow card. So let's just say I have 2 or 3 yellow cards. I would get my 2 plus however many yellow cards I have in my discard. So I have 1, for example, here. So I would actually get an extra coin per card. So it could be advantageous if you're trying to get more coins. If say you're running short on coins, you can actually get more coins by discarding cards if it's in your best interest to get rid of something that your opponent might need or something that you might need. And your last option on your turn is to construct a wonder. So you will pay the cost of the wonder. So mentioned earlier that the cost is whatever is on the side of the card. What you would do in this case is you would have all of your materials that you're going to use in order to pay for your wonder, just like when you would buy something from the stack. And what you would do is the card that you are going to take, as if you would normally take from an age card, you would take that particular card and you would place it underneath your wonder. Now, you're not actually playing the card that you took from the age cards, you're just placing it under. And all that means is that's the card that you're going to potentially play this turn. So you would pay your cost per your card, and then you would immediately take the actions that would happen on this particular card. Now, if you don't know what some of the symbols are, the game does give you a help sheet, which is very helpful, and they tell you what each of the symbols do. So that's how building a wonder works. So during the game, there are 8 wonders that are in play. And of those 8 wonders, only 7 of them can actually be played between the player 1 and player 2. And what happens is, say player 1 is actually able to play all 4 of their wonders. If they have all of their wonders placed, player 2 can only at most play 3 of their wonders. Then the last wonder would be just turned over and it's out of the game at this point. So as mentioned earlier, you would take your 3 cards at random and place the next age cards in the discard pile. What you would then do is, once you have gone through all 20 cards in age 1, you would start setting up for age 2. How age 2 works now is you would decide who would go first based on your military, whoever has the weakest military. And what that was is these cards that you collected during the first age. Let's just say player 1 collected 1, 2, 3 of these cards. And what they did is they played and went towards the opposing players. They went 1, 2, 3. What would happen here is player 2 would actually lose 2 of their coins. So they would immediately take these and they would put them in the bank right away. Player 2 is now the weakest player. They would start the age, and the game would continue as it did in the first age. And keep in mind, the military cards are the ones with the red banner on the top of them. The game would then immediately end if, say, all of the military cards have been played against player 2. Let's just hypothetically say it got all the way to here. At the end of the track, this would signal the game of the end. No matter if all the H cards hadn't been played, that would mean that is the end of the game, and the game would end immediately. So another thing we were talking about was the science tokens. And the science tokens come up at the top of the board. If you remember, we took 5 and we shuffled them at random. And again, if you don't remember what some of these symbols do, we do have the help sheet that comes with the game, and you can check this whenever you need to understand what some of these particular tokens do, because not all of them will always be in play for every single game that you play. Each time that you gather a pair of identical symbols, you play immediately, and you can choose your first science symbol, meaning you could take one of these from the top. If you notice here, I now have 2 of the wheel symbols that I've gathered. I would say that I have these 2, and I can immediately take one of the symbols found on the green card. One of the ways that you can win is by getting the green cards, which are the science cards. In my example here, I have pulled each of the cards that you would need in order to win. So one of the conditions for winning is you have all 6 different symbols of different science places. If you notice, they're all different pieces that are noted at the top of the card. So if you have 6 of these, you automatically win the game and it ends immediately. So as previously mentioned, you can win by either reaching the end with the military. You can win by having 6 different symbols of science and progress, or if all of the age 3 cards have been depleted. If no player has won victory at the end of the game, then the player with the most victory points would win. And that would be based on the cards, based on the wonders that they were able to do, and you also get points for the military. If there is still a tie at this point in the game, then the player with the most victory points from the civilian buildings, meaning the blue cards right here, meaning these blue cards would be the ones that would actually give that player the victory. If by some chance there is both still a tie in this manner, then the instruction manual actually says that both players would then share the victory in this case. Okay, so let's talk about how you set up for age 3 of the game. So just as before, you would take out your 3 cards that you already pre-started with. You place them in the discard. Now, if you remember, we talked about that you have guild cards. And these guild cards are actually going to now come into play. You're going to shuffle them, and you're going to take 3 at random, place them into your stack, and now you're going to shuffle them into your cards. And then just as before, like we were talking about in the instruction manual, you would then put in the proper setup for H3, which I will do right now. So now, as you can see, I have already set up H3 in this case. You'll notice that there are 2 up cards facing up. There are 3 facing down, 4 facing up. There's 2 cards in the middle right here that are face down, 4 up, 3 down, and again 2 up. And this is how you would set up the H3. So I hope that you have found this video helpful in some way or another, whether it's just a rule definition or if it's just understanding the game of 7 Wonders. I would really appreciate it if you would give the video a thumbs up, as it really does help out the channel in many different ways. Please subscribe so you know every time that we get a new video up. As always, friends, there's more games out there. We're gonna go play them. Now that you've finished watching this video, be sure to check out our other videos. Please also like the video, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the gaming fun. There's more games out there. Let's go play them.